Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Vincent Guallart. I am the chief architect of the City of Barcelona, but I was appointed 3 years ago because in the last 10 years we have been thinking about how the cities should be designed in the future. And one of the traditions of Barcelona is the city where the word urbanism was invented, is to invent the city of the future. So that's why we are thinking how cities should be. And first of all, I would like to share a project that I did before to enter in the Barcelona City Hall, because when the economy of internet was developed, there were many ideas about what to do with a world that is decentralized and not, let's say, centralized like the industrial economy. I proposed a project first for Valencia, but finally I was able to build in order to develop an idea. If we have 100 people that want to live in an apartment, in Spain was created a law in order to promote small apartments. My family, I am from a 3-generation family. When we had lunch, we were 10 people every day, but more and more people are living alone, and that's why many people are thinking, why not to make small apartments, many apartments. But I was thinking that instead to make 100 apartments, as you can see here, so this is 100 people, those are 100 individual apartments. Another option is to think that if you take 20% of those apartments, the people can have a private part, let's say, for the apartments and one sharing part for all of them. But the building that I made in Gandia has this structure. Everyone is paying for 45 square meters, but they have for themselves only 36. They have 6 square meters that share with groups of 6 or 12 people, and they share 3 meters with 100 people, and they have then 300 meters. So that means that at the end, one people is paying for 45,000 square meters, but he uses around 400 square meters. So this is the building that I developed following the sharing ideas. So those are the blocks, because in fact there are 4 blocks. 3 of them are part of this sharing format. And so this is the diagram of one of the blocks where this is an individual apartment. Then people are sharing some space with, in this case, with 12 people around. And then in the ground floor, you have a sharing space for a bigger surface. So this is the individual apartment where everyone has a kitchen and toilet, etc. And then this is the living room for these sharing apartments. So this is your individual room, or this, and then is the living room. So instead to have a small living room, everyone has a huge living room. And if you see here, the people come with the guitar. And what happens when you make a sharing living room? Then the people start to play music all together. Because if you have a battery and the other guy has a guitar, then in this building has been created 3 rock bands. Just by default, because they found that because they meet each other in the living room, they start to talk and they create some new relations. So this is the ground floor, this is the entrance where you see this idea of 3 structure where everyone has their own apartment and then have this sharing surface. So this is a building that I made some years ago, but now from the City of Barcelona, we are working on this idea of a world of cities. In order to share things, you need to use small units because it's impossible to share things with a pyramidal structure. So this is the world that we have that is made of cities, states, and countries. Let's say you don't see a state or a country when you fly in a plane. What you see is the light coming from cities. And then from the administration, what we decide is to organize ourselves trying to integrate the different parts of the anatomy of a city. This is a diagram that we make to explain the anatomy of a city with the environment, the different infrastructures, and the, let's say, different parts of the built environment. And here are the people, and then from the Barcelona City Council, we are developing several projects that I want to share with you in order to, let's say, create another way of managing cities. Because from the cities, we spend a lot of money in making huge projects. For example, we have a project for the TGV, for high-speed station, 5 billion euros, or Plaza de las Glorias, 500 million, or an avenue, 5 million square, small urbanizations. But we found that we could, so those are the huge projects we are developing. But in parallel to these big projects, we thought, why not to do something lighter and smarter with this? We have, like the City of Barcelona has 1,000 plots without any building, and we are waiting for money for make buildings. And instead to have this that somehow has a huge value, the idea that you have free land in the city for 10 years is something, I mean, it's very normal, but somehow it's stupid, because for the city maybe it doesn't have a lot of value, but for the people living around can have a lot of value. So that's why we launched a competition we call Pla Voids, Pla Voids, where we proposed 20 plots in the city where civic associations could make proposals to develop their own projects with a land that is owned by the municipality. So the result was that right now there are like different associations. They present projects, some of them to make orchards, but some of them to make structures or to paint graffitis or to do many kind of different projects. So from that point of view, the idea that we take things that in fact has value, but it doesn't have any price, and we share with the community, then we can create around, you see these places that are really very dense places, we can create a place where the community are managing and are even better represented. Another project we are developing is related with, this is the Grid of Barcelona, that is the typical grid with blocks, but we are thinking to remove, you see here, to remove cars from some of those blocks and then to have only cars passing through main streets, and the rest should produce, we need more public space. So this is part of the pedestrian areas of the City of Barcelona, and with this project we are doing called the super blocks, we are going to remove 25% of the surface for cars. Cars, I mean, the idea that people own a car, this is an idea for the 20th century. It's industrial economy, if you want to move, buy a car. But this is completely over. We are thinking now more about transportation, and then from the cities we need to create a structure in order that the people are able to move by using sharing bikes as we have, or public buses, or sharing cars, etc. So if we are able to do this, we'll remove hundreds of cars and vehicles from the streets, and the result will be that we will win a lot of public space in the city. So this is a project, in fact, we already started. Another project we are developing from the administration is the idea that to upgrade the Fab Labs to a Fab City. This is the Fab Lab we created, well, the Institute for Advanced Architecture of Catalonia, we created 10 years ago. We created the first Fab Lab in the south of Europe. And right now, this idea that was a cooperative platform where we fabricate the first solar house in Barcelona with machines of digital fabrication. We are upgrading, and it's becoming a public project for all the city. So the administration, we are creating in every district one of these Fab Labs that we call Ateneums of Fabrication that will bring open technology, will open the technology for people. I mean, if you think about libraries 100 years ago were only in universities, and now libraries are everywhere. Now we have the technologies only in universities and tech centers. But the idea is that we use the technology, and the idea that we open the technology for everyone in the same way that we did with the knowledge. Because what we want to do is to reinvent cities and make cities productive again. We need, instead to think and design in Barcelona, in Paris, and fabricate in China, that's over. I mean, the economy is in China and it's not here. What we need is to bring back factories and productions to city and to make them productive again. So that's why we are creating that platform, and we are developing next summer. I think Thomas explained you yesterday, this Fab 10 conference will bring many people from many countries talking about digital fabrication. And the last thing I would like to talk is about another project we are developing about the idea of sharing things. We have hundreds of things in our house that we are not using anymore, or many things that we use only one day. So we are developing a project called Wabbit, where we would like to upload the physical world to internet in order that everything that is in the planet has an IP address, so has a digital identification, and we decide what we can do with it. We can obviously to sell, there are some platforms to sell second-hand things, but what if the people, I mean, the best library in a neighborhood will be all the libraries that everyone have in their home, I mean, sharing all those books that people have in their home. So we are developing this platform where people will be able to share, for example, toys, or will be able to share books, or will be able to share whatever they want that maybe they are not using anymore. So again, we are talking about an economy of using things more than an economy to own things. And from that point of view, in this case, what we are doing is trying to urbanize, let's say, the digital world, but in the same way that we urbanize the physical world. That means we need to create streets in the digital world where the people are able to interact, but not only with your friend in India, but with the person that you don't know, but is living just in front of you. So we are working in this platform, and so part of this idea is, again, to create a city that is I mean, the cities in the future should not be rich centers and poor peripheries, but should be networks of a metropolis of neighborhoods. So the idea is that we need to go back to the scale of the neighborhood, that is where the people lives, the idea of developing communities inside the big cities, and then if we are able to break in parts huge things, we'll be able to reinvent how cities work. So I just make a book talking about this idea of the self-sufficient city, the city that is productive again, where some of these ideas about sharing buildings and a sharing economy is. And, well, we are trying to do this in Barcelona. If you have any good idea that you want to develop, you can do it here in Paris, anywhere in the world, or please come to Barcelona. Thank you.